And away we go. Hello, I'm Derek Arden, and welcome to Monday Night Live. Tonight we've got a very special edition because we're going to look at language and we're going to look at the words that people use, because words to use and words to lose. And today we've got Patricia Fripp with us. Patricia's in the Hilton Garden Hotel in Heathrow, where I dropped her off about an hour and a half ago, because today in Guildford she's run a 3 hour masterclass for people in my network. And we've had some hot spots and it's been absolutely fantastic, actually. But I put a post up on LinkedIn last night that some of you might have seen. And Patricia wrote, I'm going to bed early so I can give your audience 110% on what you promised. Ladies and gentlemen, we should all always give 110%. Best advice on public speaking, winning business, and a rocking job interview. Paul McGee, who's been on this show, who sold 1 million books, Shut Up and Move On. Patricia's a speaking legend and had a big influence on me at the start of my career. Welcome back, Patricia. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great flight to San Francisco first thing in the morning and a good night's sleep in the Hilton Hotel.
Well, the Hiltons have very good beds, and I'm quite sure that this will wake me up and not put me to sleep, but that gives me a few hours to calm down again.
Well, after your 3 hours this morning,
Yeah.
you deserve it.
Mm.
So you looked at the website, my new website, and you came up with some suggestions to change the wording to make it more you focused. Shall
All
we
right. Well,
look?
may we start with the premise. One, I believe our websites are one of the most important, I used to say the most important marketing tool we all have if we're in business. Now, I think the philosophy is from some of the marketers I follow that it's still important, but not as important. And our websites have to be found on AI. What we all have to consider, whether it's a brochure, a website, any other communication, we have 2 seconds. When people come to our websites, in 2 seconds, do they know I am somewhere I was looking for? And with that, would you like to show your website?
Right, this is where we get quite technical. As the AV director of my company, here we go. Let me see if I can get this right. Of course, I can get it right. Positive thinking, Derek. Is my website
There.
is my website showing? Now it is. Over to you.
Good.
Over to you, Patricia.
I do enjoy the line 35 years in the room where it happens. That's clever, it's catchy, it's current. However, I have no idea what he's done in the room for 35 years. So perhaps we need to say negotiating in the room where it happens. So you have the play on words, but it's negotiations. Now, Richard Bliss, who is a LinkedIn expert I follow, I always thought like Derek, I'm a seasoned executive speech coach. For over 3 decades, I've been helping companies. He says, well, you really don't want to let them know quite how long you've done it. And list everything you've done, but you should minimize that you were working before 2000, before the 20s, you know. So I don't know. I like the 35 years, but Richard Bliss would probably say no. But what you do have to do is say that you were negotiating,
Okay. And
because I am looking for a negotiation consultant, speaker, or expert. And looking at that, handsome photo of who Derek is, and I love the headline. However, it's not got my attention that I'm what I'm looking for.
now these 3 paragraphs we have quite rewritten, haven't we?
Well, yes. So also you had 35 years and now you say 4 decades.
Yeah.
Uh, so whatever you say about the amount of time, it should be consistent.
My view is I like the word decades and leave it at decades.
Yes.
That's the way I'm going at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm interested in other people's views later on.
Yes.
Okay.
Now I'm going to put my glasses on, as I see. Uh, Now, this is all about Derek Arden, which is great. This is Derek Arden. However, what I also want to know is how Derek Arden would help me. And I would also have right on the front homepage, negotiating in the room where it happens. I would like to see a short one sentence quote on how he walks on water. So somewhere on this page, and it could be above Derek Arden. Now, we might be looking at his profile, but I would take the word profile out. So perhaps above Derek's head, you want a quote. Then will you read the first sentence to me, Derek?
Yep. I just need to move one of these. Yep. Okay. Derek Arden didn't learn negotiation from books. You learned it the way most successful people do, by doing it thousands of times.
Well, well, all right. This is very chat GPT that I don't like. It's not this, it's that, which is a way of writing. It's just a choice, but I would always say exactly what he's done. And I wouldn't say he learned it the way most successful people do, by doing it. It's not bad, but it could be better.
Thousands of times in boardrooms, across negotiation tables, and in high pressure situations where the outcome mattered. Is that all right?
Yes,
Good.
that's what we came up with. Now, can't you see that's more action packed and very specific? So that was good.
Over 4 decades, we'll get rid of that. Over decades, negotiated contracts worth billions, guided executives through career defining conversations, and helped sales teams transform their approach to deals. He knows what works because he has tested it repeatedly in the real world. Is that all right?
Well, I would probably take out the real world because that's obvious. You're not doing in the metaphysic world. So again, it's a choice. But did we say, Derek, that for decades, companies in all industries and all sizes have
I've
sought
got
out
it.
his advice?
I've got it here. This is in my writing from the Harbour Hotel. Companies in many industries and of all sizes engaged Derek to mentor, coach, and advise on important negotiations.
So you see, it's not so much, yes, you've got to talk about who you are and your experience, but people want to look at okay, he's a negotiation expert. What's he going to do for me? Because if you work on the number one principle, people are looking for their own best interests.
Mm. Okay. Do
Yeah.
you want me to go to the third one?
Yep.
Today, Derek shares what he's learned with business leaders who want practical skills, not theoretical frameworks. His programs are built on one principle: negotiating is a skill that can be learned and improved at any stage of your career. Some of that's all right. The first sentence, I'm not sure about. What do you think?
Well, shares what he's learned. Well, he don't you coach, consult, speak, and write on what you've learned?
I do.
So he helps. Now he can help you if you're reading it, but he can help companies, teams, individuals improve their negotiations based on. And again, I wouldn't tell them what they're not. I would tell him practical skills. Now, what I suggested, which is what I say, that I teach little known and frequently overlooked presentation techniques. And I believe that's what Derek wants to communicate. Not everybody knows what Derek knows. You can read it in his book. However, That doesn't mean if you're going to negotiate $1 million deal, you're just going to take his ideas in the book. You want his input.
Okay, thank you. Should we keep moving down this
Yep.
so
Yes.
that we've got time for some more?
Simple techniques that actually work.
I know you
Well,
hate the word simple, Patricia, don't you?
I don't like the word simple, and you don't need the word actually, which is on a couple of pages. No, this is perhaps where you want to say little known and frequently overlooked techniques.
Great, great. Yep. Okay.
Gain a competitive edge with Derek's little known and frequently overlooked negotiation techniques. Because that saying is that they can benefit, but you have to be in there.
Okay. Thank
Mhm.
you. Next page
Do you want to read the first couple of
on
sentences?
this one. The best
Yes.
negotiation tactics are the ones that people actually use.
No, no, they are the ones that people don't know. And that's why you need Derek. This is minimizing what you get when you hire Derek.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I read that wrong as well. Yeah. The ones people don't understand.
Yeah. Yes. How about that? The best negotiation techniques are often, how about this, are often,
Yeah.
most people don't get trained to negotiate, do they, Derek?
No, they don't. No,
No.
not at all. They either wing it, and just a few people study it or
Okay.
learn from their mentors.
Okay. So what they're going to do if they hire you is save time. You don't have the decades that it took Derek Arden to learn these skills. You shorten your learning curve and get better results by investing in Derek's brain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want this to be too much about me.
Yeah.
Um, should we keep going?
All right,
I
good.
think we made
Now, first of all, I would say social profile. And okay, you've spoken in 32 countries, this many YouTube followers. This is great. However, why would they care? This is the next question. When we're giving a speech, writing a book, or promoting our services, why would they care? So the line we came up with, Derek, was millions of people listen to Derek or learn from Derek. Now you can too.
Okay. Fantastic. Keep going.
All right.
What I've done, I
What others have learned from or benefited from. By now, we know it's your website. Now we want, and where are some of the quotes? And I know you have some quotes because we looked at them. I'm suggesting you find a place on every page to do a short quote,
well,
probably on different services.
yeah, Tom's listening to this. We've got
Yeah.
some quotes at the bottom, so that's all right. We can move them up and
Yeah. Because we don't know if they're going to read to the bottom.
no. And of course, I'm going to get a quote from Will Kintich and Godfrey Lancashire and Tony Artist to put on there, and Nigel Kirby, anyone who Nancy's just opened her mouth, so a quote from Nancy as well. So they'll be great. Okay, right.
However, when you have a quote, you need a name, a title, and a company.
Mm.
So, longtime friend of Derek's is not good enough.
Got it.
Now, remember we came up with a negotiate. Remember your three key lines? You're going to negotiate better results.
Oh, better results, better outcomes, and make more profit.
Okay, this is where you repeat it. And I'd say, yeah, book
Okay,
a conversation to explore how you can bullet, bullet, bullet. What you promised in the homepage is you reinforce here.
brilliant. Okay. So that's the bottom of that page, and there's only four other pages. So if we went to the speaking page, I think we said that one was all right, didn't we?
Conference stages, leadership. So yeah, okay, that's good. Yes, more than a keynote. Now, you don't really want to do too many keynotes, do you?
No, not really.
So, so what you want to do first most is what you focus on first.
And that's advising people on getting better deals, going
Yes.
through negotiations,
Or,
and
or you can say something about benefit from Derek's advice, and then you could list it can be one-on-one, keynote, all the ways they can buy it.
okay, okay. Shall we have a quick look at Andy Halliday's? I know he's not on
Yes.
here, but let's do that. I'm going to come out of this. What?
Now, first of all, Derek, tell them who he is and what he wants to do.
Okay. Well, Andy Halliday came on this show about 8 weeks ago. If you remember, he was the police firearms officer that went down to Stockwell Tube Station. He's been on 3,000 shouts, but his keynote at the moment, and he was on the hotspot this morning, is about being the England hockey coach and what he learnt there. And we have decided on his behalf that it's much more interesting for people to start off with 3,000 terrorist shouts keeping people safe
Yeah.
in the UK. But when we turn his website up, you'll see it's pictures of hockey coaching, and of course hockey is a minority sport and maybe not the best thing to start off with.
Well, you look at one, first of all, Andy is quoting someone a lot more famous than him, who is also a dead white man, that most people of with some maturity will know who it is, but I don't know if someone Max's age knows who Abraham Maslow was.
Yeah, is Andy's website up now?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So that's a really good relevant point.
And also, there's a lot of script. You need headlines, bullets to get your attention, but it's very confusing. If you want to be a keynote speech and the cover at the top, we liked because we're looking at, I think, the second page or about him. Can you go the other way? All right, good. Life near the edge. Now, I'm not saying this is it. However, it's more dramatic. It gets your attention. And what he's talking about is making decisions in can you remember how he actually said it? Oh, he said it,
Well,
Derek? No,
it's saying
actually.
life-saving split-second decisions, which when we talked to Andy, came out of that book by I'm trying to think who it was. Somebody will remember. It's called Blink by Malcolm Gladwell, where you make an intuitive split-second decision based on your training, your coaching, and your life skills, which is what you
Well,
do.
well, you don't want to use what someone else is famous for, but I maintain in the military or the police, it's not intuition, it's training. You are trained how to respond in these moments. It's not intuition.
Mm.
It might seem intuitive, but it starts with training. But life near the edge, I like the drama of this. However, I think it has to communicate that this is about making decisions in life and death situations.
And then the other thing you said, there's far too many pictures.
Yeah, well, too many pictures without context, especially that's part of who he is. That might be if he wants a keynote, which is about his dramatic experience, which I think would be most interested in. If he is teaching team building and teamwork, then this is more appropriate. But photos out of context are only going to confuse. And I would probably say, and there's a great picture we saw when he had the mask on with just the eyes showing.
Hmm.
Do you know where that is?
Well, he hasn't got it on here. I can find it, but it'll take me a few minutes to.
Oh, well, it's a great picture, but he's geared up and it's like a ski mask with holes for his eyes. So, one, you probably need a picture of him delivering a speech with the headline so we know. Then you could put the picture of him in his mask is, don't worry, he'll wear a suit at your conference.
Hmm. He's got fantastic material for that. Patricia, should we look at your website and you?
Well, if you want to, yeah, just
I think
uh,
so. I
and
think you just
again,
like I
I'm
just
not
like
an
you.
expert, but this is
Well, you're more of an expert than anybody else I know. So
yeah.
stop getting the imposter syndrome. Oh,
Okay.
where have I
No,
told
it's
you?
not the imposter. I don't want people to think that I am a marketing consultant. I just learn from
You
the
studied
people
the
who
very
help me
best.
and I work with.
You,
Yes.
I know that you've spent a lot of your money on
Yeah.
investing in conferences
Yes.
just this
Yeah.
year and investing in people like
Okay.
Richard Bliss. Now, what can you see there, please? Everybody's,
Okay. Well, just come down just a little.
is that Andy Halliday's website or is
No, it's Patricia Fripp, but just come down a little bit. So you
um,
see the image,
uh,
just like we looked at the first image of you. Memorable messages, powerful presentations, successful sales. Do you think I'm having a photograph of me holding a microphone. Do you think this website has something to do with presentations? Because my tagline is if your message must be memorable, your presentation powerful, and your sales successful, let's talk. Now, this is what I'm saying. You see, advice you need for the results you want. And if you go down just a little lower, this is what I'm suggesting Derek needs. Would you like to read what that says, Derek?
as a negotiation coach,
No,
Derek
no,
Allen, I'm joking, is a miracle worker.
no.
As a presentation coach, Patricia Fripp is a miracle worker and an executive's best resource.
So, one, do I help other professional speakers? Of course I do. Do I help entrepreneurs? Of course I do. But what I'm targeting is executives. I'll help other people, but you focus on what you want most. Then, now if you go up a little bit higher, these are different. There are many different ways to get to what you want, but right up at the top, and you'll see there is my phone number. There is nothing more irritating than being interested and not being able to pick up the phone. So I would put your business line, not your cell phone, but definitely put, and this is what Ford Sakes absolutely recommends is always put your phone number up there, and we always do. And then right now you can get free resources. So you can see what I have before you even look any further. Now keep going down. Now we've got all the companies, and that moves all the companies. Speak with confidence. This is when I spoke to Kaiser in Hawaii, and they were all holding my book. So let's put that up. That's just an idea.
Great idea.
Yeah,
Great.
but visually show people what you do. Oh,
But the point you're making here is unlike Andy's, which has loads of pictures, you've
yeah,
got one which shows the
yeah.
message.
Yeah, now you can keep going when we say master of the spoken word. This is about me. Nice. Now, this is a headshot. This is me. I look like a professional, blah, blah, blah. In my retouched photograph that Harold, my assistant, took.
I thought you were 25 at that time, but never mind.
No, I didn't look that good at 25. All
I
right.
don't
So
believe it.
keep going. All right, customized training and coaching designed for your specific needs. So now, just like at the top, these are different ways. Speech coaching, sales training, virtual training. Where do you want to go? But again, I'm visually attracting your attention, the headlines. And this, all Patricia Fripp services can be conducted virtually or in person. All right, keep going down. All right. Will you be the next success story? Now I got some quotes. All right, keep going down. All right, that's it there. This was live at a keynote. So what are you saying? One, I get off the stage, I get close to people. They are engaged. So are you ready to, oh, right, what does the headline? Are you ready to elevate your communication influence and business results? Can you see I'm kicking you in the face with that, Derek? I'm not hiding it in 10-point type because people aren't going to read a lot. You grab them. Now, if
Absolutely.
you go, now this is a lot bigger website, of course, than yours, but go up again and click on one of the cat and let's just see. All right, well, click on how about executive coaching?
I like, Tom, while you're listening, I like the word rave reviews. I don't know if it's very
Yes.
English or not. I better ask one or two of my English mates, but I like rave reviews.
Yeah.
What did you want me to click on?
Well, click on executive coaching. That's the first button. The first button. What do you do? And then there's videos where I'm telling you on each page. Imagine being successful every time you speak. And then there's a video that I talk about what's going to happen if you hire me. All right, keep going down. Speak with confidence, inspire with clarity, lead with conviction. All right. And then here's some more quotes and about it, and you see me in action. So with that, I don't think if people are interested, they can look more because there's a lot there. However, I hope you're getting the idea of visual and headlines and what's in for the audience and what do they say about us.
I think the biggest takeaway of all that, and I'm going to come to Max and Shelley in a minute because they were there this morning for your 3 hours, is the language we use has to be focused on the client, the person that we're trying to influence, and that's, or not trying, the person we intend to influence. It's just so easy every time to get caught up, and we're all professionals, and we know we shouldn't get caught up in me, 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 me. But that's the way life works. So we have to reverse it, don't we? So the
Mm,
language is
mm.
really, really important. You told somebody off this morning in no uncertain terms for using the word try, Alan, the
Oh, yes.
architect. But yeah, we all know that the word try and should and these words that we need to lose. And also you said to me there's words that I have to lose out of the website because they add no value.
Mm.
Add no value. Has anyone got any, does anyone would like to ask any questions? I'll stop the yeah, no, I'll keep the recording going. I'm just going to pause it for a second so there's a clean. So, Max, you're a social media expert. You're a bit just slightly younger than Patricia and me. What's your observations today?
Today was remarkable. I'm not just saying that because Patricia is here with us, but it really reminded me that we are communicating tens, hundreds of times a day. And the incremental improvement you get from being able to approach every single conversation, whether it's a presentation or whether it's simply a 5-second chat, being able to get better at every single one of them through the core theme of communication, it's one of the highest ROI things I
Mm.
think you can focus on, particularly in the realm of business. And it was nice to be reminded of that this morning.
And AI is not going to replace that in a hurry, is it? Despite what people are saying that it can read emotions, it can talk to people emotionally. There is no way it's going to replace a lot of ordinary logical things, but not that.
I believe actually the communication is going to be an even more precious resource, because I think a lot of people are quite lazy. And because AI does an okay job, the temptation is to use AI language for everything. And so if you're willing to invest in the way that you speak, the way that you communicate ideas, I think you're actually competing against fewer people than ever. And the difference between a good or a great presentation and typical, dare I say, AI slop, I think that gap is huge.
Now, I'm sure Max will reinforce this, but I take transcripts of my coaching calls with clients. And I, of course, want to take out the time codes, the names, the small talk, just make it tight. But what I have found that the best when, and I'll say, for example, I don't want you to change any of the details. I want to keep everything in, make it read better, and then ask it, am I clear enough, or do you need to write me a prompt? Because I was arguing it for a while. This, you're not giving me what I want. And it told me, you're not giving me the right prompt. In cleaning up my clients' presentations, and it said, you have to add thinking like Patricia Fripp, because in my own GPT, it has all my books and everything I write and all the principles I want it to use. And it told me to say, you need to think like Patricia Fripp. So I'm now much better at saying, am I clear? Do you need to write me the correct prompt? And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't, depending how important what we're doing. If it's a client speech, keep Irma's speech as, because we've worked on it. Keep all the details in, just make sure there are no so's, there are no buts, and all the instructions. And it usually sends me back, zup, zup, zup. I mean, what would be 25 points to include in the prompt?
And
So you ask it what prompts it needs.
Well, I tell it what I think I'm saying I want. And then I'll say, am I clear? If it's just a post about a LinkedIn post about going to Blenheim Palace and what I learned and my experience and my family's experience and the importance of words of Winston Churchill, I just say, am I being clear? Just make it read better. Says, no, that's perfectly fine. Zup, 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 it does it. But with a client speech that we've worked on, we don't want them to change it. We just want them to streamline it and clean it in accordance to everything I would recommend and deliver unforgettable presentations. And that gives me really long really long prompts. And I found I was sending it too much information at once. It doesn't like it. It doesn't want you to send them 8,000 words. So now I know I got to chop it up into smaller pieces. This is the next segment of Irma's speech, keeping all the principles in the last segment or putting them in again, and just give it to it a shorter amount of words at a time.
Great. Thanks, Patricia. Shelley, you were in the hot seat this morning, and I was feeling for you when you were put under that sort of under the microscope from Patricia. You look like you've recovered. What did you take away from that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the things that Max has talked about, but I said to Patricia, the one nugget I got really was then what to say when a client says, what do you do? And it's imprinted on my brain now. I will be saying, if you ask my client, Paul, he'll tell you that and then you can be as boastful as ever.
Yes.
Because I'm not saying it.
Yeah.
I thought that was priceless.
And then we were also talking about how do we get, doesn't matter what your business is, how do you get more business? Well, you keep in touch with everybody you know, everybody who has hired you before, even in a different role or a different company, and just make sure they know what you are now doing and how you can help them. And of course, if you're asking for help, you have to offer to give it. You know, hey, I'd like to catch up, see if there's anything I can do for you.
Underlining what you said earlier, Patricia, about websites, I did mine last year. My homepage doesn't say anything about me. It says what I do for the client.
Yeah, exactly. Why would they care what's in it for them? Same with your speech, same with your website. Very good, Shirley.
Checks in the post.
So, who's got a question for Patricia? You've all been listening patiently. A lot of you aren't professional speakers, but actually, as Patricia says, we're all professional speakers every time we need to influence someone. Godfrey.
Yes, hi everybody again. Thanks, Patricia. Look, I'm not working now other than in voluntary positions. I don't have a website. I don't need one, but I remember when I did in business. And a lot of what you said is fantastic. I picked up the nuance between your world in America and Brits over here. We've spoken about this before. We're much more reticent to promote ourselves. In America, it is I, and I understand that. So the use of language is terribly powerful. But one word, as a little example, stood out: rave reviews. That would switch me off straight away over here.
Better not put that on mine then.
That's just not how I perceive my professional would approach anything I wanted from them. So the use of language is so powerful, and the nuance between different audiences, whether it's cultures, countries, has got to come into play a little bit. That's all, just an observation.
Great observation, Godfrey. And I remember when I came back from a speaking conference in America, I tried a few American techniques, and they didn't work. They did not work. I thought, oh, when you get off the plane at Heathrow, Derek, go back to being a Brit. But
well, no, but what were some, can you remember what some of the techniques were that you thought they didn't work?
No, I can't remember them, but we still have to. And Andy Halliday raised this this morning. He said the one thing I learned from you, Patricia, last time I heard you speak was you got to toot your own horn or you won't make any music.
Well, if you don't toot your own horn, there is no music. However, the point is, and this was a story I brought up this morning, is if you are one of my Fripp VT community had taken a job with a great company at a lower position than he had before because he wanted to get in. And he said every time he internally tried to get another position that was open, because they try and obviously promote internally first, he said, I don't get the job. So I asked him, what is it they asked you first? He said, well, they got the resume. Tell us about yourself. And the technique I suggested, which is toot your own horn, but the way you do it, you say, well, if you were to talk to my last manager, he would tell you, Bill is expert at this. If you would talk to my team who reported to me, they would tell you this. And if you were to talk to one of our many clients that we serve, this is what you'd hear. So you're talking about yourself from other people's points of views. And these were comments that you, truthfully, they have said, or they would say if you asked them. So that's a classy way. You don't say, hey, I'm the best in the world. What you do is you say, this is what other clients. That's why you put the quotes on your website. You don't have to call them rave reviews, but you can say recommendation, past successful clients. And if you've got plenty, you can always say thousands of people cannot be wrong. Or hundreds of companies made a good decision. Will
That's what
you?
they've always been saying about Will Kintish and his networking courses, haven't they, Will? He's too modest to even switch off the audio.
Yeah.
Patricia, I'm pleased to say that my website is pretty much like yours. It's in your face. Good. I have a video. I have a page for accountants, a page for lawyers, a page separately, and I was very pleased and giving myself a few ticks when I was watching yours. So in that respect,
good, perfect.
Thank you. I'm pleased about it.
But can you see, Will is communicating, if you're an accountant, you need me. If you're this, you need me. And then by having customized pages for the different industries, they are finding exactly what they want.
Yeah, it seems to work for me.
Yeah.
And also, the URL says networking for accountants along the top. So I should come up very close to the top when somebody types in networking for accountants.
Yeah.
Well, when you say that, networking for accountants, you said that's the URL. I thought the URL was Kintish, just Kintish. What am I missing?
Kintish.co.uk, and then it's probably got / networking for accountants after it.
Okay, why can't I have that, Max?
You can have different websites, but have them all directed to your main site.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm missing that.
Because I also own Silicon Valley Speech Coach, San Francisco Speech Coach. But if you go there, if you would to find that, it's going to get to fripp.com.
Okay. Yeah. Brilliant. Nancy, you've been quietly listening. You were born in the Midwest. You must be very interested in some of the language differences that us Brits don't understand. Have you got any examples, or what's your story?
Oh, what's my story? I've been here 45 years, Derek. I've gone over to the dark side.
Hang on a minute. Hang on. I'm going to switch you off. Do you mean us?
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is, as many people do note, is that British people find it difficult to talk about themselves in a positive way. They're always self-deprecating, always putting, oh, it wasn't much, oh, that, and all these sorts of things. And so people that I've coached or people that I've worked with sales teams, it's been about how do you talk positively about the impact that you have. And I've been on that line for many decades, I can admit to. So to get people to really talk about themselves in a positive way. And so Shelley brought up one of the techniques that I used a lot, which was the third person reference. So, and you were doing it there, Patricia, with if you talk to my team, this was what they tell you.
Yeah.
If you talk to my boss, and then if you talk to my customers, this is what they might say. So it's not you saying I am the greatest, because Brits hate that kind of approach, and it turns them off. So you adapt in terms of what you're doing, but also, our international business language is English, and so you have to be mindful of the fact that some people, particularly around Europe, have been taught to speak English in the American way, and some have been taught in the British way. So, when I listened to what people were saying, it was, okay, where did you learn your English from? Because it's coming through in the way you articulate, and then you can help them to see perhaps a variety of ways of expressing themselves. Anyway, that's enough from me.
Nancy, I think that's very interesting, because I've never thought about that before. But I guess Dutch people who are pretty aggressive, their language comes across pretty aggressive. They're always very short with their words, have probably learnt American English, I guess.
Well, yeah, but the Dutch are very direct. And of course, they get the BBC over in Holland. You go to Holland on a business trip and turn on the telly, you get the BBC. So they all start from, a very young age learning English. But being very direct is part of the Dutch culture. They don't beat around the bush. And I mean, one of the greatest stories I can tell you, and I won't take up time talking about it now, is the experience of Barings Brothers being taken over by the Dutch bank ING. I mean, the
Remember.
stories that I heard, because I was involved with both of those. Oh my gosh, because Brits beating around the bush, the Dutch wanting the direct answer. Very interesting.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Who else? Anybody else got anything to throw in? Will?
Going back to this reticence by the Brits of bragging, on my happy sheets, it doesn't say, what did you think about this course today? It says, if you were telling someone about this course, what would you tell them? And in the little note at the bottom, it says, unless you put a cross in here, I may well use your words for my website or my LinkedIn or something like that. So again, it's back to that third party giving. Do you like that one, Arden?
Yeah, I remember you told me that 15 years ago, but I've forgotten it, Will.
Well, when we learn, Patricia, when I start my training, which I'm doing tomorrow by coincidence, I'm training a whole load of cybersecurity scientists. I start like this. I can't fail today because I'm going to do one of three things. I'm going to reveal, this is the R word, I'm going to reveal new stuff to you. I'm going to remind you of things perhaps you've forgotten, or I'm going to reassure you that you are a great networker. And in that respect, so you reassured me earlier on about websites. So if I got nothing out of this, which I have done, but it's just to reassure me that I'm doing it reasonably well. But then I should be after my business birthday was on June the 1st. I've just started my 27th year.
Very
By the
good.
way, that's after 36 years, but that's after 36 years as an accountant, just for the record.
Now, you posted that on LinkedIn, Will, and I liked it, of course, but I just wondered if that was a bit of a, I'll be honest with you, a bit of a naff post to put on LinkedIn, but that's me.
Excuse me. I did not post it. LinkedIn automatically comment. I've had loads of congratulations. I did not post it. It just comes up.
Oh, wow. Well, I apologize then. That's the first time I've ever apologized to you, actually, but I will do.
Huh? Oh, it's good.
So it posted it. Okay, well, I obviously haven't got that switched on, but I don't think I want it switched on, actually. But you probably had loads, you probably had 1,000 impressions or something like that, which
Couldn't believe it. All of a sudden, in my message box, it had congratulations. I thought, what's going on here? Somehow or other, it comes up. I've told you this 100 times, Derek. Strategy for success is visibility.
That is a great line.
That's mine, Patricia.
Yeah. I'm not taking it. That's a great line.
You can have it with pleasure. And for the small business and for the new business, strategy for survival is visibility.
Max, what's your view on using these posts and the language we use on the post and to get more impressions?
I think it's absolutely valuable, Derek. Yes. And I think it's shifted now. I think it's become the norm for a lot of people. So a little bit like I said earlier, where a lot of people are leaning on AI, actually being thoughtful, taking time to think, dare I say, coming back to it later before you post and giving it a once over with a fresh pair of eyes, a fresh mind. I think it makes more difference now than it has ever made before.
But I can tell who's just gone to AI, put up a post from AI, and thinks everyone's going to read it. And 80% of the posts are talking about me, aren't they, as well? That's the other thing.
They are. And if you're deciding between 2 people or 10 people, you might find that 9, there's lots of long hyphens everywhere. There's funny, sort of inhuman wording. And that person who's taken the time to be thoughtful, maybe it's cost them 5 minutes, maybe it's cost them 15 minutes, it will get them the sale. And I think it will pay off.
Those long dashes are called long M's or something, aren't they? Are they
M dashes?
M dashes, yeah.
M dashes.
M dashes, and that's usually the first giveaway that they've got it off of ChatGPT.
It sure is.
M dashes, yeah. Yeah. So I put my newsletter through ChatGPT at the end, and then I take out all the M dashes and just change it round to a bit more direct.
Now, you know, you can put in a prompt, no M dashes, no this. You tell it.
Okay.
Sorry, I need to know what's an M dash. Sorry, what is it? What's an M dash?
Max, go on.
So an M dash is a long hyphen.
Yeah.
So it is a grammatical piece, but humans don't tend to use it very often. AI will use it a few times per paragraph. So it's a long hyphen. It's like a pause.
Yeah. Now, one of my proofers used to say, put M dashes, but of course she knew the rules of when it was appropriate. Because there are rules in English of when you would use it and when you don't.
Mm.
But ChatGPT tends to use it all the time.
All the time, yes.
All the time. And therefore, so as soon as I see a LinkedIn post with loads of M dashes, that's it. Forget it. Forget it. So any further?
While we're on the topic of AI, just wanted to note that as more and more people are using AI models and AI assistants for searches, I think including a frequently asked questions section on your website just allows you an easy way to get a load of keywords in, specifically relating to search queries around your industry or service.
Tom's in bed at the moment, not very well, but he's tuning in as everybody wants to tune in to the Monday Night Live podcast. I don't quite understand that, Tom. Sorry, can you just go?
All right. Well, Tom, with Derek's website, my website, anybody's website who has services to sell, how would you use it? How would you use AI to answer the frequently asked questions? If you had that, ask frequently asked questions about Derek's work.
So I think within the niche you're operating in, what are the most frequently asked questions you get? What an easy way to come up with the answers to those is to think about your most common objections and how you handle them, and then rephrase those objections into a question. So, for example, why is my house not selling? For example, we have a client who's looking at helping sell houses faster without having to drop the asking price. So sort of rewording the questions and including directly on your website the keywords of why is my home not selling, how can I sell my home faster, and include the answers beneath that. And then Google will pick up on these keywords, and then when someone types into ChatGPT, for example, how can I sell my house faster, it will go and search for those results. Your page will show up because you've got the right keywords in place.
Yeah, you've got the exact match. You can exactly ask the same thing that a prospect will be typing into Google or typing into ChatGPT, as Tom said, is extremely potent way of getting ranked very high at not much extra effort.
Well, Max, I'm going to ask you a question because I asked, for sakes, my webmaster, who is a marketer, I said, I've just got 7 really good prospects from ChatGPT. And he went to his computer and he said, yeah, you come up first for me, an executive coach. And he said, that is because you consistently post and you have done for decades. So it's because chat finds what we put out in the world. Isn't that right?
It's right. It's going to trawl through everything that seems relevant to what that prospect, what that person has searched. And if you've got a long, consistent over years, or dare I say decades, Patricia, of proof that you are who you say you are around those keywords, it's going to think, I can trust this. It's not a flash in the pan. It's not something which has been set up last week. So consistency, as you said this morning, really does pay off.
Wow. Wow. So, any more questions? Because 3 hours this morning in the Wolpston Place Hotel, an hour tonight. All round Petworth House yesterday with my daughter Jenny for 6 hours. It's been a busy weekend, and you thought Guildford was a vacation, didn't you?
Now, Andrew has had his hand up for a while.
Okay, I missed that. Sorry, Andrew, you're muted.
I was just going to reinforce something which Godfrey mentioned, and I've said this before. If I go to get new business in America, and I turn up at a client's driving anything but a Ferrari, they're not going to look twice at me. But in this country, if I turned up with a Ferrari, they're going to think this man's making too much money out of me.
Mm.
So the lesson that comes out of that is you've got to know who your client is before you go and see your client, and you've got to tailor yourself and your approach to fit in with your client. I did want to pick up on a couple of things. Firstly, Derek, well done for being so brave and subjecting yourself to this today. I mean, you've suffered enough over the past 2 weeks. I don't want to use the word penalised because penalty is a bad word, I think, at the moment, isn't it? But anyway, wording is critical. You had on your website a number of times the word "don't," and "don't" is one of those words which agitates a lot of people. "Do not" is the correct way to do it, and but think about the flow and how that works. And "done," you use the word "done," and rather than "done," I would put "achieved." Language is everything for us. It's one of the things that separates us from our American cousins, which is that they use words in a different way. They speak in a different way to us, but we're getting that communication off with the right words and as I said, tailored to the person who's reading it is important. And I know that's difficult to get that done for a sort of generic reader, but there is some of these things can be tailored. It used to be a lot easier when you used to just have to write to clients because you could tailor your standard approach letter to fit in with them. But it's a little harder now with a website. But you know, as I said, watch the language. Be careful about using your TikTok photograph on the web page. I think there's a lot that's come out of what Patricia said, as always. It's a joy just to sit here and listen to a masterclass from a master. Ease it a little bit, I think, to suit your English market.
Thanks, Andrew. Yeah,
that sounds critical, and I don't want to.
No, it's feed forward. Thank you. I love the word feed forward. It's not feedback. It's to make it even better. I was listening to a podcast.
Got to go. Just say goodbye, Patricia, and see you next year. Safe journey.
Okay.
I was listening to a podcast this week. I listened to a number of podcasts first thing in the morning when the birds are singing, and it suggested, I put this to Max, suggested instead of saying, you know, where are you on a scale of 0 to 10? If you're coaching someone, they generally say between 6 or 8. That's the norm. What would it take to be a 9? Why not say, how did you get from 7 to 8? What difference did you make to make them think about the action they took? Because all we're trying to do is say you want to be even better than you are. And it was a bit more of a searching question. So I thought that, and I put it to Max last week when I was talking about a good presentation he made. So just a thought. There's Jill Turner. Jill Turner English. Hi, Jill. You got your camera working. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much. That's yes, it's great to listen. I have a quick question on the subject of websites. I have a nephew who is in the health and safety business, and he's been developing products which are effectively products that people will buy because they want to avoid a problem. But in those situations, I would be suggesting to him, from my kind of understanding of language, that he wants to get them to focus on what they're going to, not what they're going to gain, but what they're going to avoid. So something like, what if the last time somebody stole your tools from your van, was actually the last time they're ever going to get stolen. Because it's kind of, yeah, I think, I don't know what you think about that, because he's not promoting something. It's well engineered, it's blah blah blah, but it's gonna keep you from losing money.
Well, I would say definitely if you have a product or service that helps them save lives, save money, that's great to promote the result of their product.
Right. Thank you.
And that's away motivation, Jill, isn't it, from my NLP days? And what away motivation sells quicker than towards motivation, which I prefer, actually.
Well, it depends on what you're selling.
Sure.
You know, if you're motivated by solving a problem, then yeah, then away would be better. If you're motivated by great success and goals, then towards would be better. But on the other hand, sometimes a bit of both can be very successful too, because if a problem is hot and close, then you want to be pushed away from it. But if the goal is getting the more compelling the goal, then the more you're drawn towards it. So it depends on where you are in the process as to how much push you need and how much pull.
I would love to jump in quickly and say, in the world of content, you will see better performance by and large if you use a negative hook. Because people,
well, I was just going to say, one of my genius copywriter friends, David Garfinkel, said negative headlines. So that's why I wrote the 11 mistakes salespeople make in their presentations. And one of my biggest clients ever that got me into the world of technology, she downloaded that special report.
Wow.
And that, yeah.
And that's after decades of Patricia, and Max can't claim to have decades of experience. Not
no,
yet.
but that's it. So obviously, marketers, you know, marketers know what appeals and attracts people.
His fear is the strongest motivator. You really need someone to do something. Unfortunately, fear is the number one motivator. So it's a parody of that when you're saying, here's a mistake, here's a problem that you need to avoid. People's ears tend to prick up.
Good. Then Max is going to like my sales page. Are you losing sales you feel you deserve?
Yeah.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
Max might not have decades of experience, but I guess that what Max has is access to data that he's analysed and he's looked at.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jill. I'll take that.
And a different mindset to us older people that have the odd decade of experience as well, because there's a mindset, and we talked about that as well, didn't we? That so in the next 3 weeks, next week I've got Jane Gunn on. The week who most of you know hasn't been on for 12 months, very busy at the moment. Then we got Ken Scott. Why do I keep calling him Ken Smith?
I want to call him Ken Starr because he is, but his name's Ken Scott.
He produced Hard Day's Night, was his first record he produced for the Beatles. He produced David Bowie. He's done a couple for the Stones. And Paul McCartney's played in tunes on a one-to-one basis. So has George Harrison, who George Harrison thinks he's fantastic, or did. Poor old George, not with us anymore. So that's an introduction again from Patricia. And
so that's the 22nd, isn't it?
And
the
then we've got Steve Spangler
on the 29th.
On the 29th. Patricia is introducing me to some amazing people. So get your friends along, please. The more people, the better. The more likes I get, and the more fun we have, really. So let's keep going. Keep going. Nigel Kirby, are you all right? You haven't said a word today, which is very, very good, but just checking in on you.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking about how an AI language model could really mine into every website, and you could almost constantly change your website daily, which increases your search engine optimization. It gets all of the AI engines actually crawling through your website. Have you actually asked your client, what did you like about my website? Or where specifically did, or reflect on that sales call after and see how you could even tweak your website, and then think how many other people equally are like Bill or Bob or Brenda.
Thanks,
Well,
Doug.
it's a good question. Every time I have an inquiry, I always ask, I'll answer what they're, but I always say at the end, are you, was I referred, or am I the end of a search?
And the other tip I'll give you with AI, what I've done several times is I actually go back and say, what have I missed?
That is good.
Okay, well, Patricia, thanks again. You probably need to go and get some food.
Well, yeah. Stop talking. The words aren't coming out of my mouth correctly.
What's the food like in Terminal 2 at Heathrow?
Oh, well, at the Hilton Hotel is very good.
Okay. And the Wi-Fi is good, so that's great. And thanks for today. Thanks for coming on tonight. I know you're tired. Have a safe trip back on United Airlines tomorrow. And Patricia's got an upgrade because she paid £400 up front to take a chance on an upgrade, which is a trick, which is a good trick. So that's great.
No, it's just understanding the rules.
Yeah. Understanding the rules. And we'll see you soon.
Goodbye, everybody. Nice to see you all. Bye.
Thanks again. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Cheers, Tom.
Thanks, Patricia. Cheers, Derek. Great to see you.